I'm in camera and I did that. Big deal. Okay. So, where are we going tonight? I'll tell you where we're going. I'm going to read the rationale for this course. This is a course. It's a 6-session program that takes you where you need to be. That's what I do. In the early development of your invention or product, your mind sees the features and benefits which may interest potential investors and licensees. Even before you put down on paper or build a prototype, you can describe it from your knowing. Let me talk about knowing. We learn in 3 ways: trial and error, thought, and knowing. In trial and error, everything is just like a shooting in the wind. But when you get the idea together and you start thinking about it, and you can set some goals for it and have some achievement. But if you can move to the knowing stage, the knowing stage is like Brett Favre standing at the line, figuring out who he's going to throw the ball to. He knows how to do that. Therefore, the defense lets him, because he knows. So, if you're going to sell your product, you're going to sell your invention, you must know it inside and out and be able to talk about it. Because if you can talk about it, the world will beat a path to your door. I'll give you an example. When I go to a networking thing, I call them things. This is a networking thing tonight, okay? When I go, I look for somebody in the audience who's looking at my eyes. And I walk up and put my hand out. And I say, Bill, tell me about your business. And most people go, well, I'm an attorney. And I go, big deal. What's that to me? Why would I want to work with you? Simply because you're an attorney, right? And then they'll say to me, well, tell me about this full voice stuff. That's why I have the badge, by the way. If you have a product that can be logalized, you put a logo on yourself, people start taking you seriously. Think about that. Anyway, and Bill would say to me, well, tell me about full voice. And I say, well, I'm Garrett Gardner with full voice. I'm a vocal performance trainer. I can help you sound like you know what you're saying. And they say to me, tell me more about that. That's what you want for your product, for your invention. You want them to ask you to tell you more. And I get emotionally involved about this because I see, as Brad said, people turning their lives around when they can talk about what they know. When they can talk about what they know, not give a speech. I didn't think about the words I was going to use tonight. I just thought about the content that I wanted you to get. Because the words get in the way. Because if I'm reading off of my eyelids what I'm saying to you, it's going to sound like this, and it's a wonderful talk that I am giving. You have to let your knowing come through you, and it also takes developing your voice so that you can expel the sound to people. We grow up in a culture that says, stay in the back of the room, don't say anything, don't make waves, right? Think of our culture. Even your family. We don't do that in our family. That's what you're hearing. Well, I was lucky. When I grew up, I was an only child in a very political family that was used to talking. And so that when I said to my mother, I think I want to try out for the National Symphony Orchestra chorus as the boy soprano. My mother said, sounds good to me. She didn't say, no, wait a minute. You don't have enough of this, you don't have enough of that, and you want to make a fool out of us. My mother said, go make a fool out of me, in so many words. But I didn't. I got the gig. You know why? Nobody else asked for it. In the same way that when you're selling your products to people, they may never have seen anything like your product. And if you can't talk about it well, you probably aren't going to sell it. Now let's go on a little bit. Second paragraph. Often inventors are introverts. Didn't I say that? All right. And afraid or unwilling to set up face-to-face meetings and phone calls, much less avail themselves of networking opportunities where they might meet raving fans. I've never worked with anybody I didn't meet at a networking situation unless they were referred to somebody who I had met at a networking situation. In 17 years, I've never made a cold call. You can't call on Blue Cross Blue Shield and sell your stuff. They don't want to see you. But if you meet the president in a nice networking thing, he takes you in the back door. That's why I work with people at Blue Cross Blue Shield. Because Tom Bowser and I are acquaintances. And he said, I want you to talk to my HR people next Tuesday. We've got 3 people you can help. Well, if I hadn't walked into the bathroom at the chamber at that particular time, it never would have happened. But I was ready to talk. I was ready to tell the story. I said, you know, I'll be happy to do that. I didn't have to think about it. I knew I could meet with those HR people and they would say the word full voice. I knew it. Now, that's not a case of I'm so wonderful. It's a case of knowing. So, you can move past your fears, reveal your unique style, and develop an ability to project credibility at a moment's notice. I'm always ready to talk. The people at the chamber will tell you that. If they need a MC and MC at the last meeting, at the last minute, because somebody doesn't show up, I read really good. They call me up and I do the MC work. Now, because I did that one day at the chamber, I got hired to be the MC for the convention of the, I forget what it was, ARMA International in Chicago for their 50th anniversary. I was there for 3 days doing nothing but, and now, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is. They paid me $6,000 a day. Biggest fee I ever got in my life for one day. $6,000 for doing nothing but, Amy, would you like to talk to these people? Isn't that fabulous? So now I'm an international MC. I don't do a whole lot of it because there are a lot of people who want to pay me $6,000 a day to do that. But there are some. Okay. Now, I also performed that night of the final banquet. I sang with the band. I can do that too. I can do Star Spangled Banner. You know how much a Star Spangled Banner costs? For 2 minutes and 37 seconds? $250. That's what I get. Now, if I'm already there and I'm doing something else with the convention, it's $150. You got to get something for it. You know, oh, say, can you see? Not everybody can do that. Tony DiPardo once heard me do it, and he said, I won't hire anybody else. I said, thank you very much. Okay, so you'll build the relationships you need to sell your dream if you can talk about what you do. Then you can hand out your brochure and expect action. You just can't hand out the brochure, folks. It doesn't work. People don't read, especially if it's in color. By the way, it's proven fact. You want somebody to remember something, put it in black and white. I learned that from Zig Ziglar a long time ago. The reason for that, I'll tell you why, Bill. Okay? The reason for that is that the memory is connected to the rods in your eyes, not the cones. So it's imperative that people be able to read this. Now, everybody's seen these gorgeous brochures that the car dealerships have, especially Lexus. Half the stuff you're not going to remember because it's written in color. Now, isn't that terrible? So I do everything in black and white. It's also cheaper. Let's talk about saving money, whatever. So, let's say you decided you wanted to become a talking sales sheet. I told him I wouldn't walk too far, so I'm going to stay right here. If you want to become a talking sales sheet, here's what you would learn. To enhance your communicability. Now, communicability is the ability to communicate. Somebody asked me once, what's that word mean? The ability to communicate. No. Anyway, to get prepared to make connections. You know you have to prepare to make connections. You have to say to yourself, who do I want to meet at this meeting? Vince, you went to this meeting out for the fairs out in Las Vegas. Relate to them what you said to me that they did to you when you were trying to talk to them. Here, talk in here. Talk right there. Go ahead.
Okay. This is awkward.
I asked for a handheld, but I didn't get it.
A lot of people from fairs would come to this show to find new acts, whether magicians or musicians. And these guys went around the fair, and I tried to introduce myself to them, to give them my brochure, to tell them what I did. And a lot of them seemed too busy to even give me the time of day.
Isn't that a waste of time? Isn't that a waste of time? He has a wonderful project, if any of you now know what Vince does. He has a half replica of